Hello everybody, it's SLJ and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, my scenery has changed and the reason is that I have moved. Unlike my last 16 years in Tokyo, I have made the jump and moved to a whole different city away from where I have been living most of my, well, not most of my life, maybe half of my life. And I currently live in the third largest city, Osaka, Japan. So besides the scenery changing, so has my hair color, which is a mess today because I didn't bother combing it. Sorry.
We all make choices, but that was a choice.
And so today I'd like to actually talk about something a little different, something that is not usually talked about on my channel. It's about moving in Japan, especially moving long distance. So as many might know, Tokyo to Osaka is quite far. It's about 2.5 hours by Shinkansen or around 500 kilometers. And a lot of other famous YouTubers out there have continued to talk about moving services and how great they are in Japan, but they never touch on one thing, and that's the cost. So today I'd like to talk about my experience and the costs associated with moving with art moving service here in Japan. And let's go ahead and get this video started. Here we go. So, the first thing you have to do when you're looking for a moving company here in Japan is make sure you compare all the costs of all the moving services. So the easiest way to look for the cheapest moving services is to look at any of these 4 sites, which compare all large moving companies in Japan. Since I didn't want to get any phone calls since I don't plan on moving, I decided to go with Hikoshi.net. So what you do is here you have some choices of what suits you best, and I chose I don't plan on moving. And the first screen you go to is the dates and how many people live in the household. And once you click on that, you put in your address. I chose a random address, so this isn't where I live. So I chose a random Tokyo address in Shibuya and just put in some random numbers, followed by typing in an address in Osaka. So I chose just a random address near Osaka Castle. So if you want to know the zip codes for Shibuya or Osaka Castle, here you are. So unlike the other sites on the internet, this is just a rough estimate of how much each service will charge you. So on this page, what you do is you kind of choose the furniture you have or you currently have. And at the end of choosing your furniture, it'll give you a rough estimate of how much each service will cost you. And once this screen is finally done loading, here are the prices. So again, this is just a rough estimate of how much the move will cost. At the end, at the bottom of this page, you will see an option to actually contact the moving companies you want to contact according to this rough estimate. And then the whole process will start where they give you a call and actually come see what type of furniture you have in your house and give you an actual official quotation. So these little circles represent other services each moving company has, such as getting rid of trash or unwanted furniture and so on. But depending on the service, the options might change. If you don't feel confident looking at these websites or negotiating Japanese, it's always good to have a Japanese friend on hand. And if you don't have anybody to help you, there's also English moving services available. If you're moving within Tokyo, I'd highly recommend Tokyo Helping Hands. I've used them before when I've moved between houses in Tokyo. Or if you're moving long distance, Art and Sakai Moving Services both offer English services. And you're welcome to call them and they'll be willing to help you out. However, I feel that if you do speak Japanese or have someone who does understand Japanese to negotiate or talk on your behalf, you might get a more competitive price than if you didn't speak any Japanese at all. With Art or any of these services, do offer 3 different plans. One is where they pack everything for you and they take it to your house and unpack it for you. And that's a very expensive cost. I think it's around like $8,000 for the distance we were going. The second one is where you pack all your own boxes, and what they do is they just transport it for you and then put your furniture in your house where you want it. And that was more doable for us since we're both working from home currently and we have time to pack our own boxes. And we also want to cut back costs as much as possible. So after filling out the website, you get all these phone calls. Usually we got around within an hour, we got 4 or 5 phone calls from all of the moving services on that site. and they basically asked to set up web meetings or they were willing to come to our house. Knowing that our apartment was a bit of a hassle to move into due to a lot of furniture not fitting in our old apartment and our new apartment, we decided that we want to choose one of the larger companies that would actually be willing to guarantee that they'd be able to deliver our furniture safely into our new apartment. So we stuck with the top 3, which were Heartful, Sakai, and Art. Not in that particular order, but we stuck with the top 3 and see what's the best price we can get. So the first company that came over to our house was Sakai. And a lot of these times when you do choose a moving company to do a quotation, they will come to your house and they will look around and kind of guess what size of furniture you have to figure out the size of truck they might need, as well as how many movers they need. And based on that, they will give you a moving cost. So the first company we did was Sakai. The representative was quite nice. He wasn't too friendly. He was nice, but he was very stern. And he did give us a good price. He gave us around $1,800 for the moving cost, which is quite competitive. Both our house in Tokyo and our house in Kansai, there weren't big streets in front of them, so a big moving truck couldn't park. So what they had to do is they had to bring a smaller truck, fill that up, and then deliver it to a larger truck, unload everything, then come back again twice to fill in all our furniture. And moreover, our apartment doors in both places are also quite small, so that we have to take off doors. So that kind of raised the cost a little bit. Second, we got a quotation from Heartful. He also came to our apartment and did a quick look. However, due to them not actually having drivers who drive long distance, they end up giving us the highest quotation of around 4,000 US dollars, or around 400,000 yen. So after comparing the two between Sakai and Heartful, we decided that maybe Sakai is a better option despite the actual representative not being the best person. And then lastly, we dealt with what all the YouTubers always recommend, which is art moving service. Looking at the YouTubers' videos and such, and a lot of them being sponsored, I was expecting the cost to be quite expensive. So unlike the other two, art moving service didn't come to our apartment. Instead, they did a Zoom meeting, and we basically showed them, virtually all of the furniture we had, and they offered us a quotation of around $2,000. However, unlike Sakai, the representative was very nice and very easygoing, and she was very, open to, helping us get all of our furniture safely to our destination. Well, a lot of things with these quotations, the companies want your money right away, and they also want to secure a truck. You have to tell them within 2 days or the quotation becomes invalid.
In order to get the best price for any moving service, the best thing to do is to compare the prices and also tell the representative that you got a cheaper price from another large company. And this is what my partner did to get the best price for art moving service.
Is how about we call Art and we tell them the price we're given by Sakai, and maybe they will match us. So what he did, he called Art's customer service center, not the actual representative, and he told her the situation. He's like, oh, thank you, we really like your service, we really like what you guys are offering. However, Sakai gave us a better price, and we're willing to know if you can drop the cost for us. And if you can drop the cost now, we will be willing to apply and pay you up front now if you give us a discount. And after checking with her manager, she came back, she's like, okay, what we'll do, we'll offer the same moving services, but we'll only charge you 165,000 yen. So it's actually 5,000 yen less than what Sakai offered. Thus, we decided to go with art moving service. So the same as all the other YouTubers out there. So next thing I want to talk about is things you should be careful with in the contract. Here we go. So when it comes to contracts, you have to be very careful. And this is when you probably meet someone who reads Japanese if you don't get an English contract, because there are lots of special clauses written in there. So for instance, let's say on the day you do get offered boxes. So we got 40 boxes from Art, as well as the other boxes that a lot of YouTubers show, the recyclable ones where you put your dishes in, all the really nice ones. However, they did mention though that if you do not tape every single box by moving day, they will charge you an additional 1,500 yen per an open box. So make sure you read those fine prints when you sign up for a moving agency, because you might be surprised when you do move out that you will have additional fees added to your moving costs if you don't actually read what you need to finish before they show up.
So before I get into the final review of Art Moving Center, let's go over the 5 things I discussed today. So the first one is to compare all moving services, either using one of the websites I introduced today or calling each service individually. Next, meet with the moving companies and get a quotation. Third, negotiate the price, and you might be lucky just like we were and get a cheaper price for a better service. Next, check the fine print of each contract. Make sure what is included and what it isn't. And if something isn't included, find out how much it will cost extra to get that thing added to your final quotation. And then last, pack and relax and get ready for your moving day. Now let's go ahead and get into my review.
Now it's time for moving day. Our original contract, we did sign up for 3 movers. So we expected, 3 movers to show up at our house to help load all the boxes onto the truck. Moving group, there's usually one full-time worker, which is the manager, one kind of underneath him like an apprentice, as well as a part-timer. So I guess this day the part-timer didn't show up, and the main manager who did the original readings, he was busy downstairs watching the truck. So he had this poor, 20-year-old apprentice guy come up and down our stairs carrying all these heavy boxes. So me and my partner both felt sorry for him, and we actually helped him carry all the boxes. And then, once the part-timer showed up, all 3 of them started packing, taking the furniture apart and everything. They weren't rude by any means, but they were just not friendly. They're kind of like, you're in the way. Can you move? Or I understand they're doing their job. The night before, they came between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. and they packed up boxes and furniture and everything. And then that night, I guess another person drove everything to Osaka. So what I did is that evening I came to Osaka, checked into a hotel, and had to be at our new place by 8 a.m. when the truck arrived. So the second day was actually quite different from the first. This time the manager was a woman, and all of her members are also women, except for one guy. And they were very friendly. She was very nice, very easygoing and professional. And they were in and out quick. She was carrying my heavy furniture up those stairs by herself. And yeah, I felt that the Osaka team was very professional compared to the Tokyo team. And they were very quick with their job. And she was she took off the doors in 2 minutes. Bam, bam, doors off. Bam, bam, furniture up the stairs. Bam, bam, boxes here and there. So I really did enjoy the service here in Osaka. And I think that's a big difference between regions, not so much the company itself. I feel that in general, people in Osaka are a lot friendlier than people in Tokyo. And they're not willing, also I liked how she was more talkative in the sense that she didn't use Keigo as much. She was kind of oh, how are you, blah, 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 what you doing, what you eat for lunch, blah, blah, blah. So I really enjoyed that. You had someone to talk to, not just stand awkwardly standing there. They were very good here in Osaka, and I have nothing to complain about. So now down to my final review. So I feel that unlike other YouTubers out there, I did not use the full service, so I can't really give my opinion on that. However, I feel that they do offer a very competitive price, similar to other moving services out there. And believe me, I've heard of even cheaper places, of course, but I've heard horror stories of furniture getting broken and walls getting holes in them and so on. So tie the end, yes, I do agree that they're a good movie service, and the price isn't that expensive, especially, if you have someone there to negotiate for you and to give you a very competitive price. I would highly recommend using Art Moving Service. And, I feel that, across the board, most services in Japan are very good. But if you're in Tokyo and you want to use a cheap service, I would do recommend Tokyo Helping Hands. I have used them in the past, and the guy who runs the company is very nice. If you're moving large furniture, I wouldn't recommend them. But if you're moving, one person's amount of furniture, yes, they're very good. And that's the end of my video today. And I hope that it was a little useful. I know I'm still my house is still a mess somewhat, but whatever. But anyways, have a great day, and I will see you all later.